Well, China's President Xi has sent a message to Donald Trump and his wife Melania, wishing them a speedy recovery. The pandemic has, of course, created tensions between Washington and Beijing, with President Trump frequently referring to the China or the Wuhan virus. Let's go live to Beijing and speak to Andy Mock, Senior Research Fellow at the Center for China and Globalization. Thanks so much for being with us, Andy. So relations between Beijing and Washington are tense even before this. How is China reacting, official China, to the news that Mr. Trump has been hospitalized for coronavirus?
Well, first of all, thank you for having me. There are, I think, two sets of views. Of course, there's the view of official China or the political class. And there's also the views of the Laobaixing, or the man in the street. And maybe let me just start very briefly with the views of the man in the street, and then I'll talk in a little bit more detail about the views of the political class. I think because of decades of economic and people-to-people engagement, most people in China have friends or relatives that are living, working in China, or their livelihood depends in some way on the United States. So there's a lot of concern about President Trump and the COVID-19 pandemic in the US in general. With the political class, I think what's going on is that, first of all, there is this view that President Trump being infected with COVID-19 is an inevitable self-inflicted wound arising from a system that chooses its political leadership based on popularity rather than qualifications for governance. So I think that in this sense, it's not surprising that this has happened, but I think also, as you mentioned, in President Xi's expression of concern, at a personal level, I think there is concern and good wishes for President Trump, for the First Lady, others, including Kellyanne Conway, others, Hope Hicks, that have been infected, that they do have a speedy and smooth recovery. But this is, again, an inevitable outcome of the political system in the United States.
And with so much at stake when it comes to relations between Beijing and Washington on this upcoming election, a change of government could mean a change in relationships. So how closely is the US election being followed in China?
Well, I think clearly the US, as the largest economy in nominal terms globally, also such an important partner in many ways to China. Of course, the election is being followed very closely. I think that being said, I think that China's position has always been that the tail does not wag the dog, in that China has its own set of priorities: economic development, the rejuvenation of the Chinese nation, of which foreign affairs are important. And in that sphere of foreign affairs, the U.S. is important. But I think far more important are the policy decisions and the initiatives that China has taken for its own development, its own advancement towards this realization of the Chinese dream.
And how much resentment is there in China about the fact that the president has referred to this consistently as the China virus, as the Wuhan virus, that he is now a victim of?
Yes, I think that, we do hear voices, especially in social media like Twitter, that there is anger and resentment amongst some Chinese voices about this. But I think more generally, and these are, of course, legitimate voices, but I think they are the tip of the iceberg. And to complement, I think, these views, so the rest, the 90%, that does not comment in English or on formats like social media, is that there is a recognition that the U.S., again, the political system, it's a two-party system. There's a lot of rhetoric, especially as we come to an election, that some of it is discounted, and deeds matter more than words. And we have to watch how things will unfold, not just with the election, but the broader, I think, bipartisanship that we're seeing in the U.S. these days towards China.
Andy Mock, thank you so much for joining us with that analysis there.
Thank you for having me.